Okay, so here's our overall design for the raised garden beds we're going to be making. After doing quite a bit of research on the internet and YouTube for building raised beds, we actually discovered an alarming number of them are just standard rectangular beds. You know, that's all well and good, but we really don't want a bunch of rectangles in our backyard. You know, what's the fun in that, right? We took it upon ourselves to go ahead and make a design based on how we want things to look, but still give us plenty of coverage, usable space, and of course accessibility. As you can see here, most of our usable space is running in a north-south direction for maximum sun exposure. We have a few areas that are more squared off, so we're going to use that for plants that require more space to grow. But most of our produce is going to come from these north-south regions. As with most of our projects, you know, this is pretty much our end goal, so to speak. You know, this design represents a total of about 600 square feet of garden space, and that's quite a bit more than what we're ready to tackle this season. So what we're going to do, you know, we just moved into our house, so there's quite a few other projects going on. The last thing we want to do is get overwhelmed and frustrate ourselves with the gardening process because we can't keep up. So, plus, you know, neither one of us really have green thumbs. In fact, it's quite the opposite. So, we're going to go ahead and take this plan and break it up and make smaller, manageable sections. We're going to go ahead and start up here in the upper corner, giving us about 118 square feet, 120 square feet of bed space. And more importantly, we're getting a good feel of how things are going to go in the future and what we're going to be able to expect when we build the rest of this out. We've priced things out for materials and should be able to get this fairly cheap, and we're going to go ahead and get started and get underway. It's still late winter here. In fact, as I'm recording this, it's snowing outside, so we're going to go ahead and plant potatoes and onions. We're going to go ahead and start with those and then grow everything else inside until spring starts to roll around. After a few months, we're going to go ahead and start building the other half of this wing, and that'll give us 200 square feet. We feel that's more than enough to get started. At least for this first growing season, maybe even through the second. We'll just have to see how it goes. You know, as time goes on and we feel more and more comfortable about our gardening abilities and the produce that we're getting, we'll go ahead and add this second wing, and that's going to double our effective gardening space and give us much more volume to work with. And of course, as things progress, we'd ultimately like to go ahead and achieve the full goal and finish out this design by adding the southern wing. And we're going to eventually add, you know, a stone walking path from our house that runs through the beds, and just make this look really nice, make it our own. So we're going to go ahead and build this up, have some dirt delivered, get started, but don't forget, the full design is way more than we can handle at first. So we're going to trim things down, start small, and focus on this corner piece and go from there. So join us as we get started on staking out the outline, building the frame, and eventually making our own raised garden beds.